My child, stop scrolling. This is not content, this is a summons. Heaven is watching how you respond in this moment. Before you listen any further, subscribe now, not for a channel, but so you do not miss the voice God keeps using to reach you. My child, my beloved, this is not just another spiritual message. It is a sacred broadcast. It is a divine file that was unsealed for your eyes only. And if you knew how rare this moment is, you would not blink. You would not scroll. You would not dare walk away. God says, the angels are waiting for your yes. That yes isn't just a whisper. It's a heart decision, a shift in posture, a surrender of control. You've been trying to figure it all out, but that's not trust. That's fear in disguise. Tonight, heaven is not asking for your understanding. It's asking for your obedience. Say yes now. Yes to letting go. Yes to stepping out. Yes to the whisper you've ignored. Say yes before the protection that was designed for you is reassigned to someone else who moved faster. My child, my beloved, the path ahead has already been cleared. The angels have gone before you. I have walked it. I have seen the map. But there is a fork coming. One side looks easier, safer, more familiar. But it leads to spiritual stagnancy, hidden warfare, and 7 more years of confusion. The other path looks uncertain, even frightening. But it is where the provision is, where the partner is, where the money is, where your purpose is pulsing like light behind a curtain. You must choose the harder way now, not because God wants you to suffer, but because the path to miracles is rarely paved in comfort. Archangel Michael is not here to make you feel good. I am here to make sure you wake up, because if you miss this turn, you'll end up living a life that feels like yours but isn't. A spiritual detour that looks like success but robs your destiny in silence. My child, my beloved, even now as you're reading this, something in the spirit realm is waiting for your agreement. Yes, this message looks like words on a screen, but what you don't see is the fire behind every sentence. Each paragraph is infused with light. Every line is vibrating with urgency. Because this is not just a message, it is a divine intervention. It's a scroll that should have been delivered weeks ago, but heaven waited for the perfect second when your heart would be soft enough to receive it. That second is now. And if you keep reading, you will feel it. Your spirit realigning, your strength returning, your peace rising from the ashes of what the enemy tried to bury. This is not a coincidence. It is your deliverance unfolding in real time. My child, my beloved, there is something you need to hear that no one has had the courage to tell you. You've been walking with people who don't carry your anointing, and it's suffocating you. Not all of them are bad people, but they were not meant to walk with you this far. And because you kept dragging them into your future, your miracle has been suffocating, buried beneath the weight of disobedience disguised as loyalty. God says, release them, and I will release what you've been praying for. Some relationships are not wicked. They're expired. And when you cling to what's expired, it begins to rot your momentum. Tonight, heaven is giving you grace to disconnect cleanly, quietly, without pain. But if you ignore this, you may be forced to separate later, violently, painfully, publicly. What you release in secret will protect you from embarrassment in public. My child, my beloved, there's a hidden scroll in heaven, a spiritual document marked with your name and written in golden ink. It contains dates, encounters, financial provision, and supernatural instructions meant to guide your next 6 months. But that scroll was sealed after you missed the last signal. Not out of punishment, but out of protection. God would not allow you to see what you weren't prepared to obey. But this message, this exact moment is the test. If you fully open your heart now, if you obey even what you don't understand, the scroll will be unsealed again. And with it will come answers to the questions that have haunted you in silence. You'll finally understand why that door closed. Why that person disappeared. Why your plan collapsed. It wasn't rejection. It was rerouting. But you won't understand until the scroll is opened again. And your obedience is the key. My child, my beloved, there's a window opening tonight. Just one. Just for you. And once it closes, it will not open again for a long time. Not because God is cruel, but because divine patterns are precise. You were not created to chase opportunities. You were created to recognize them. And this message is not just a warning. It's a divine opportunity disguised in urgent language. Heaven is watching who listens when God whispers in the middle of a storm. Will you wait for lightning and thunder to confirm it's real? Or will you be the one who moves when all you have is a whisper and a shaking in your soul? If you do, what was planned against you tonight will reverse. And not only will it miss you, it will backfire onto the very spirit that sent it. The enemy is nervous right now because you are dangerously close to waking up in power again. My child, my beloved, this is your moment of reckoning, not for shame, but for realignment. The reason you've been feeling so off, so disconnected, so heavy even in your joy, is because your soul knows something your mind hasn't caught up to. Your timeline has been slipping out of sync. The events you were meant to encounter have been waiting for you to catch up. And if you delay now, the events will proceed without you. That's the heaviness you've been feeling. Not depression, but spiritual dislocation. But here's the miracle. God didn't let the door close. He delayed the movement just for you. But that delay ends tonight. Either you align now or the flow continues forward and you'll be forced to wait until the next cycle. But you were not built to miss this. You were built to walk through it. You were born for this alignment. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved. This moment is not an accident. Heaven knew you would see this exact line at the very second your spirit would finally be ready. You have been surrounded by noise, confusion, fake smiles, and deceptive peace for too long. But inside your spirit, there's been a quiet ache, hasn't there? An ache that no one sees. You felt the pressure building but couldn't name it. You've watched as plans fell apart, money slipped through your fingers, people changed without warning, and opportunities vanished right when you needed them most. That's not coincidence. It's a sign. A sign that your divine covering was flickering, trying to stay in place, trying to hold on, even as your soul drifted silently into forgetfulness. But no more. Archangel Michael has been sent to stand between you and what's coming. But I can only stand for you if you obey this message now. You must not delay. You must not stop here. My child, my beloved. What's scheduled for tonight is not ordinary. It's not earthly. It's a spiritual confrontation between what was promised over your life and what has been attacking it. If you do nothing now, the enemy gets legal access to your open doors. You have unknowingly kept certain doors unlocked. Every time you refuse to fully cut off that toxic person. Every time you return to what you prayed to escape. Every time you delayed obedience thinking it was harmless. Those delays have cost you. But this message is your rescue. This is not just a message. It is a spiritual tool, a divine courtroom file handed to you by heaven's legal army to overturn what was just decreed against your life. But if you treat this casually, you'll walk into tonight with no shield. And this time, you won't just feel tired. You'll feel spiritually exposed in a way that leaves scars. My child, my beloved, listen to what I'm saying with every part of your soul. Not all attacks come with fire and thunder. Some come with silence, with delay, with coldness from someone who used to care, with sudden blockages in your work, your relationships, your own thoughts. The spirit of confusion has hovered near your name. It was not allowed to touch you before because the covering was strong. But with silent disobedience, delayed trust, hidden compromise, and spiritual apathy, the enemy presented a case in the courts of heaven. A case to lift your protection. And heaven allowed it only for a moment, only as a final signal to wake you up. If you ignore this wake-up call, the next season will be much harder than it was meant to be. But if you act now fully, humbly, obediently, you can still reverse it before the hour strikes. My child, my beloved. You may not understand all the ways you've drifted, but heaven does. The prayers you used to pray with fire have become whispers. The worship that used to shake your room has grown silent. You still love God, but you've grown numb. You've grown tired. You've been hurt. You've been disappointed by people, but none of that is an excuse for disconnecting from the voice of the Father who has never left your side. The enemy used your pain as a trap. He convinced you to sleep. And now, while you've been sleeping spiritually, a plot has formed. But it's not too late to cancel it. This message, this exact moment is your spiritual alarm. But if you hit the snooze button again, you may wake up too late to stop what's already in motion. My child, my beloved, there is someone around you who is pretending. Pretending to be harmless, pretending to be a friend, pretending to support you. But behind your back, their name is involved in something dark. Their name has been heard in the spirit realm as one who has partnered knowingly or unknowingly with your delay. God does not want to expose them to embarrass you. God wants to expose them to protect you. You are not meant to be tied to this person any longer. They were only supposed to walk a short distance with you, not your whole journey. But your kindness kept them around. Your loneliness kept you quiet. And now their presence is costing you more than you can see. Tonight they are making a decision that will directly affect your next blessing. Heaven is watching. The angels are watching. But only you can act. My child, my beloved. Every time you think maybe I'll wait until morning, know this. The storm doesn't wait for sunrise. You felt delays, but this next one is different. If this delay enters your life, it could push your divine alignment back by 7 years. That's how critical this window is. Archangel Michael has stood in battle for you many times. But this battle I can only win if you respond. My sword is drawn. The armies of heaven are positioned. But your voice, your spirit, your attention is the key to unlock the intervention. You must not skip this. Even 1 second of hesitation gives darkness a foothold. If you knew the size of what was scheduled to bless you tomorrow morning, you would drop everything to protect it tonight. Don't let a moment of laziness cancel a destiny built through tears, warfare, and heaven's mercy. My child, my beloved, tonight is marked in heaven. There is a shaking coming that will affect everyone. Family, finances, plans, and even your thoughts. But there is a difference between those who are protected and those who are exposed. You must choose which side you'll stand on. Not with your lips, but with your obedience. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to trust what your spirit feels right now. That strange pressure in your chest. That sudden warmth running through your body as you read this. That's not emotion. That's the Holy Spirit affirming what is true. That is the Spirit saying, yes, this is for you. Yes, it's urgent. Yes, I need your response now. If you walk away, the silence that follows will not be comfort. It will be absence. But if you stay, if you trust this divine instruction, even the decree written against you tonight can be torn to shreds before midnight. My child, my beloved, my child, my beloved. You were not created for this version of life you've been settling for. There's a higher realm of clarity, purpose, wealth, spiritual power, and divine alignment that you've only tasted. But heaven says now it's time to live there, not visit, not imagine, live. But it requires sacrifice, not in the form of pain, but in the form of trust. Can you trust God enough to walk into the unfamiliar? Can you trust the voice of the Spirit over the voice of fear? Can you walk away from what once fed you now knowing it's keeping you stuck? If you can, if you will, then what happens next will feel like divine acceleration. Doors will not open, they will swing. People will not just meet you, they will be sent. Money will not just flow, it will flood. But only if you obey. That's the covenant tonight. Obedience for acceleration. Stillness for stagnation. Choose carefully. The outcome is not random. It's activated. My child, my beloved. The spirit of delay that's been attached to your timeline isn't natural. It's not just bad luck or bad timing. It is engineered. It is targeted. And it's been feeding off your inconsistency. Every time you got close to breakthrough, hesitation crept in. Every time God nudged you, you second-guessed. And the enemy used those delays like bricks, building walls around your blessings. But here's the part that will shift your soul. You still have the authority to tear it all down in one night. Yes, one night. One moment of radical alignment can dissolve 10 years of delay. That's why this message feels so intense. That's why your heart is beating differently as you read, because your spirit knows what's at stake. And deep down, you've known this moment would come. You just didn't know it would look like this. But now that you see it, you can't ignore it. Not without consequences. Not without collapse. My child, my beloved, God is about to send someone into your life that will change everything. A divine helper, a prophetic connector, someone who holds a key to your next realm. But they can only enter a clean atmosphere. They will not walk into confusion. They will not arrive while spiritual warfare still sits at your door unchallenged. You must cleanse the space now in your mind, in your friendships, in your habits. If you purify your atmosphere, the divine connection will appear within 3 days. But if you delay, that person will be reassigned, and what you were meant to build together will be given to another. Don't let fear talk you out of this. Don't let comfort keep you hostage. Don't miss what God is trying to hand you just because you refuse to let go of what He already told you to drop. My child, my beloved, heaven has reached the final countdown. Not in years, not in months, in hours. What was once far away is now within reach. What was once delayed is now active, but it's waiting for you to step into alignment. The decree that was issued against you, yes, it was written, but it was not final. God signed the margin with these words, "If they open their eyes, I will open the gate." That's what this message is. It's the gate. It's the scroll. It's the moment. And I was assigned to walk with you through it. But I will only walk with those who trust, who obey, who say, "I don't fully understand, but I refuse to miss God again." If that's you, then child, keep reading because the final section will not just inform you. It will transform you. My child, my beloved. I am still here. I have not moved. My wings are stretched around your name in the Spirit. But I cannot hold this shield up alone. Every second you choose to stay in this message is a spiritual agreement, a step deeper into the protection you didn't even know had been granted back to you. Yes, you made mistakes. Yes, you delayed. But God is not interested in punishing your delay. He is interested in what you choose to do with this final invitation. If you keep walking, I will keep clearing the way. If you keep listening, I will keep fighting. But the moment you stop, everything pauses. The spiritual covering retracts. The divine transaction is interrupted. This is not about fear. It's about power. Because what's coming for you is too valuable to risk. Heaven doesn't want you scared. Heaven wants you prepared. My child, my beloved, there is something you've been sensing for weeks. You couldn't name it. It felt like something was off. Something wasn't sitting right in your spirit. That discomfort, that odd restlessness in your sleep, that's not anxiety, that's your spirit trying to interpret divine urgency. And now you know why a decision was made about you in the heavenly realms. One that removed the spiritual bubble that used to protect your path. Not out of anger, not out of abandonment, but to show you what would happen if you kept ignoring the voice that's been calling your name since you were a child. The voice that once whispered in the night now has to shout. And this message is that shout. Don't harden your heart now. You've come too far. Don't explain it away. The Spirit has already confirmed it. You know this is for you. My child, my beloved, there are angels assigned to you that have not been able to complete their mission. Not because they are weak, but because you kept allowing access to people who don't belong in your next season. Every time you welcome them back in, the angels step back because divine order cannot coexist with tolerated disorder. And you have tolerated too much. You have swallowed silence. You have excused too many red flags. You have called it grace, but what it really was spiritual hesitation. God sees your heart. He knows you never meant to wander this far. But the consequence of tolerance is blockage. And the only way to fix it now is to close every gate that was left unlocked, especially the ones that feel familiar. Because the enemy always enters through what is familiar. You must shut it. And you must shut it now. My child, my beloved. My child, my beloved. Tonight is marked in heaven. There is a shaking coming that will affect everyone. Family, finances, plans, and even your thoughts. But there is a difference between those who are protected and those who are exposed. You must choose which side you'll stand on. Not with your lips, but with your obedience. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to trust what your spirit feels right now. That strange pressure in your chest. That sudden warmth running through your body as you read this. That's not emotion. That's the Holy Spirit affirming what is true. That is the Spirit saying, yes, this is for you. Yes, it's urgent. Yes, I need your response now. If you walk away, the silence that follows will not be comfort. It will be absence. But if you stay, if you trust this divine instruction, even the decree written against you tonight can be torn to shreds before midnight. My child, my beloved, heaven is watching how you respond. Not just your eyes, but your spirit. You may be reading this while sitting in silence, but the spiritual world is roaring right now around your name. You are not just a person. You are a chosen vessel. And that comes with weight, responsibility, legacy. And the enemy has known who you are longer than you've known yourself. That's why you've been under such strange pressure this week. That's why your sleep has been disturbed, your mind pulled in too many directions, and people around you suddenly acting different. The shift isn't just in them, it's in the air. Tonight, the spiritual climate around you is shifting. And the only question that matters now is, will you realign in time or will you miss the divine re-entry window that God carved just for you? My child, my beloved. There is a decree with your name that was almost sealed permanently. Almost. But the mercy of God interrupted the process. And do you know how it was interrupted? Yes, you were the interruption. Your spirit was crying out even when your mouth stayed silent. Your soul was weeping while your face kept smiling. You couldn't explain it to anyone, but something inside you refused to give up. That resistance became your signal in the heavenlies. And because of that silent cry, God called my name. I was sent to deliver this message at the exact hour your soul would be sensitive enough to receive it. But child, if you stop now, the interruption will expire and the decree will continue its course. What you do in the next minutes will echo into the next 7 months of your life. My child, my beloved, you may feel powerless. You may be thinking, but I haven't done anything wrong. That's the danger. Silent disobedience doesn't always look like rebellion. It looks like delay, like fear disguised as waiting for confirmation, like ignoring the nudge to pray, like staying too long in a relationship that God whispered for you to exit long ago, like silencing your gift because someone else made you feel small. These things feel safe, but they open the door to spiritual legal access. And the enemy doesn't need loud sin. He only needs silence. But here's the miracle. God is not holding a grudge. He's holding the gate open one last time. If you walk through now, the door closes behind you and the danger loses access. But if you hesitate again, your absence becomes permission for darkness to proceed. Heaven is not threatening you. Heaven is warning you out of love. My child, my beloved, someone has placed their energy on your life in a way that is not pure. They call you friend, but their words carry envy. They say they're praying for you, but their spirit holds bitterness. They are watching your next steps, waiting to see if you rise because they fear you might surpass them. God has seen this. You've seen glimpses, haven't you? Odd behavior, strange tension, something you couldn't put your finger on. That wasn't paranoia. It was discernment. And God is saying, do not ignore it this time. The person connected to this warning will show you one final sign in the next 48 hours. Watch for it. Don't deny it. Don't excuse it. When it happens, you will remember this message. You must move quickly. Because this person's next move is not just emotional, it's strategic. It's been spiritually planned to interrupt your momentum. My child, my beloved, a miracle was meant to land at your feet this week. A real, tangible, physical shift, money, clarity, new connection, or something you've been quietly praying for. But that miracle has been held, not cancelled, not lost, just delayed by a spiritual blockage. And here is the most painful part. The blockage didn't come from a stranger. It came from within your own atmosphere. Someone close to you. Someone who carries access to your energy. Someone who doesn't even know how powerful their silent jealousy has become. It's been enough to create friction in the flow of heaven toward you. And the decree that was signed against you wasn't just about punishment. It was about permission to allow that blockage to proceed, but you still have time to cancel it. This message is your override code, your spiritual override. But it only activates if you stay present to the end. If you take this seriously, if you listen beyond emotion, you must open your eyes fully now. My child, my beloved, this is not just another spiritual message. It is a sacred broadcast. It is a divine file that was unsealed for your eyes only. And if you knew how rare this moment is, you would not blink. You would not scroll. You would not dare walk away. God says, the angels are waiting for your yes. That yes isn't just a whisper. It's a heart decision, a shift in posture, a surrender of control. You've been trying to figure it all out, but that's not trust. That's fear in disguise. Tonight, heaven is not asking for your understanding. It's asking for your obedience. Say yes now. Yes to letting go. Yes to stepping out. Yes to the whisper you've ignored. Say yes before the protection that was designed for you is reassigned to someone else who moved faster. My child. My beloved. My child. My beloved. This is your moment of reckoning, not for shame, but for realignment. The reason you've been feeling so off, so disconnected, so heavy, even in your joy, is because your soul knows something your mind hasn't caught up to. Your timeline has been slipping out of sync. The events you were meant to encounter have been waiting for you to catch up. And if you delay now, the events will proceed without you. That's the heaviness you've been feeling. Not depression, but spiritual dislocation. But here's the miracle. God didn't let the door close. He delayed the movement just for you. But that delay ends tonight. Either you align now or the flow continues forward and you'll be forced to wait until the next cycle. But you were not built to miss this. You were built to walk through it. You were born for this alignment. My child, my beloved, I, Archangel Michael, am not just speaking. I'm standing right now in the spirit realm. My wings are spread wide over you. A storm is approaching your timeline and I was assigned to intercept it. But I cannot move without your agreement. Heaven has laws and one of those laws is permission. Your faith is that permission. Your surrender is that key. If you say yes in your spirit now, if you choose to trust even when your eyes can't see, I will fight for you. I will cover your home. I will cancel the decree against your name. I will drag out the spirit that has been tormenting your dreams. But if you remain still, if you choose doubt, then my hands remain tied. I was created to protect the chosen, not the passive. Do not hesitate. Do not stay lukewarm. This is not the hour for indecision. My child, my beloved, the hour is late. The spiritual war is not waiting for your comfort. There are blessings that have been rerouted because of your hesitations. Divine connections that were sent to you but turned away because your atmosphere was not ready. God is not punishing you. He is teaching you. Teaching you that delay is disobedience in disguise. That comfort is sometimes the enemy of calling. That love without boundaries becomes bondage. You have one final choice tonight. Trust the voice of God. Open your hands. Let go of the illusion of control. And walk forward like the warrior you were born to be. If you do, the protection that was lifted will slam back into place like a divine shield. And the darkness planned for tonight will scatter before it even reaches your street. My child, my beloved, there are moments in life when heaven stops everything to focus on one soul. This is one of those moments. The noise of the world may still be ringing around you, but in the spirit, it's silent because your name is echoing in the throne room of God. The angels have stopped their songs. The books have paused mid-turn. The conversation in heaven has turned to your obedience, your future, your alignment. God is leaning forward, waiting to see what you do next. Not out of control, but out of compassion. He knows you've been weary. He knows you felt alone, even in a crowd. He knows your heart has carried burdens too heavy for your smile to show. But he also knows this. If you say yes now, if you obey the instruction wrapped in this message, there will be a divine reversal so powerful that even your enemies will stop and say, "How did they escape that?" They will not understand it because the protection that is about to return to you will not be visible, but it will be undeniable. My child, my beloved, you have been walking around with unanswered questions, haven't you? Wondering why certain doors open just to close again. Why relationships that felt like destiny ended without warning. Why people you trusted turned distant. It wasn't just emotional, it was spiritual. God removed what you wouldn't so that what was coming would not be corrupted before it arrived. But the removal wasn't punishment. It was preparation. And now finally, what was meant to arrive is circling again. This is your realignment moment. If your posture is right, if your heart is surrendered, the blessing will land this time. But God will not let you waste it again by sharing it with the wrong circle. That's why He sent me to warn you, to shield you, to shake you awake before the window closes again. Because this window, child, is rare. Once it's gone, it won't return until after the next spiritual season. And that season brings heavier storms. My child, my beloved, I must reveal something that you may not want to hear, but your spirit already knows it's true. Someone has been praying against you. Not with curses on their lips, but with envy in their heart. They smile when you lose. They celebrate quietly when you suffer. They claim to support you, but their spirit carries jealousy like a perfume they pretend not to wear. God has seen it. Heaven has heard every unspoken word they've sent into the atmosphere about you. And tonight, that spiritual opposition has grown bold. It has gathered energy. It is aiming to strike your peace, your money, your next move. But God didn't leave you uncovered. This message is your weapon. It is your firewall. But only if you take it seriously. Only if you obey the instruction to separate your energy now fully, completely. Not with hate, but with holy boundaries. Because the enemy can't stop your blessing, but he can send people who delay it. My child, my beloved, you were not created for this version of life you've been settling for. There's a higher realm of clarity, purpose, wealth, spiritual power, and divine alignment that you've only tasted. But heaven says now it's time to live there. Not visit, not imagine, live. But it requires sacrifice. Not in the form of pain, but in the form of trust. Can you trust God enough to walk into the unfamiliar? Can you trust the voice of the Spirit over the voice of fear? Can you walk away from what once fed you now knowing it's keeping you stuck? If you can, if you will, then what happens next will feel like divine acceleration. Doors will not open, they will swing. People will not just meet you, they will be sent. Money will not just flow, it will flood. But only if you obey. That's the covenant tonight. Obedience for acceleration, stillness for stagnation. Choose carefully. The outcome is not random. It's activated. If this message reached you, it means heaven has not given up on you. But alignment is not passive. Subscribe now as an act of obedience, not to me, but to the voice that called you tonight. Stay connected, because what God is about to release next is not for spectators. It's for those who stayed.